Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope this show has found you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Another day above the dirt is always a blessing, dagnabbit. Yes, guys. Yes. Hopefully you guys are all well out there. Happy Sunday. Hopefully it's been an enjoyable one for you guys. I know that we just woke up to some very shocking news out here in these streets. I gotta be honest, I didn't expect this today or this morning. I will explain. Obviously, I think we all can say the same thing, okay? We were thinking one thing, and I thought it was a typo. You feel me? You see the title down below or above, wherever you're watching this show right here. You'll get what I'm talking about when we talk about it. But for real, I thought it was a typo, all right? I straight up thought it was a typo, but this is true, okay? So we have got to get into this conversation. So please do me a favor before we get into everything, all right? Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs, so make sure you're following me on those platforms, especially my Facebook, because there's a lot of things I'm giving you guys that is breaking news right over there in article form, okay? And, in article format, because sometimes I don't have time to jump on right when something breaks to give you guys the breaking news. So make sure you're following, hitting that follow button, or even subscribe to my Facebook page, all right? Because there's a lot of breaking news on a lot of cases and a lot of situations going on in the world, and I cover a lot of it on Facebook sometimes before we even go live. So make sure you do that. Hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel, please, dagnabbit. Subscribe over here, okay? Make sure you do that, all right? Make sure you do that. Go and subscribe to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random, all right? So make sure you do that. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay. All righty then. Here's the thing. This is not going to be, I know. I already know. I know. I say this all the time. This is not going to be a long show, and then it ends up being a long-ass show. This is not, unless something breaks while we're live. Let me just put that little, let me preface this with that first, all right? But this is not going to be a super long show, all right? But at the same time, this is something that's very, very big and shocking. It is shocking the political realm right now. It's shocking MAGA for what it's worth. Senator Lindsey Graham is dead at 71 years old. Crazy stuff is going on right now, guys. People are losing their minds over this situation because he lost his life due to a brief and sudden illness. Well, to me, this sounds like he had a heart attack. That's what it sounds like to me. But people are spinning this in a way and we're going to go into some comments and all that. And before we go into this article, let me just say this too. All right. There are a lot of people that there's a lot of opinions being said out here in these streets about Lindsey Graham. I will sit here and say this, okay? I am not dancing on his grave, nor will I waste my time doing that, all right? I did not agree with a lot of things that he was all about. I didn't agree, still don't agree with the war in Iran. And there's other things that I wasn't I'm not a big fan of. All right. But you will not see me personally be going in on him. All right. Just saying that. All right. We are going to go and try to take the high road as best as we can within this. Now, I've seen other people react to it. I mean, it's still very early. All right. It's still very early in my neck of the woods, where people are reporting about this. And there are people out here, and we are going to read some of those things where they are basically doing the moonwalk on his grave. I'm just going to say that real quick. We are going to be reading a lot of opinions here, varying degrees. People who are praising him to people who are literally dancing on his mother-loving grave. Here's the thing. I am not doing that myself. I am reading what is being said in these tweets, in, videos and all that. That does not reflect my opinion on Lindsey Graham. There are some things I have opinions. You'll hear them throughout the course of this show, but I am not here to sit here personally to dig at this man who has already just lost his life. Just so you know. Okay? But this is very shocking information. Just like, I will also say this too. Just like Mitch. Yeah, just like Mitch McConnell, right? There's been a lot of conversation and speculation about him and his health because he's been gone for like 24, 25, 26 days. He has not made an appearance on the Hill at all. He has been hiding out, and apparently he is gravely ill, if not already passed. There's a lot of rumor about him actually being gone, and they're just holding him out because they don't want his position, his slot, taken. So that's what I mean by, I literally had to rub my eyes really quick and go, wait a second, Lindsey Graham? Wait, maybe it's a typo. You meant the other old white guy. You meant Mitch McConnell, right? No, Lindsey Graham passes away at 71 years old due to a situation where they're calling it a brief and sudden illness. To me, that sounds like a stroke or a heart attack. That's what I truly think. Those things do happen. Those things happen all the time, right? But at the same time, shocking information. All right. So we got to get into this. This is some pretty interesting stuff. And of course, there's a lot of people that are very concerned because apparently he had just come back from traveling to the Ukraine to have a meeting with Zelensky in the Ukraine. And then immediately after he comes back home, brief and sudden illness, and now he gone. Now he has crossed over. In the arms of an angel. You know what I'm saying? He gone. Out of nowhere like that. So there's a lot of people that are really, obviously trying to figure out what the F is going on and are completely thrown off. And they're going, we need full transparency on what happened to him because this is mysterious. We'll find out. But to me, it sounds like he had a heart attack, y'all. And I will say this, too. This is why, fellas, hey, yo, fellas, get your piping checked. That sounded weird. What I mean is, do the blood tests. You know what I'm saying? Do the stuff. Go and have your routine checkups. You know what I'm saying? Just like just like when the check engine light comes on in your car and you drive it up to the mechanic and you do your, every couple thousand miles tune up, you need to do the same damn thing. Okay? You need to do the same damn thing to your body. And if the doctor says, slow down, mother lover, then slow your ass down. Okay? Yeah, piping sounded weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was piping. That sounds weird. But you get what I'm saying. All right? Get your routine checkups. Get your physicals and all that. All right? So that you're here on this planet a little bit longer. But here's something else that people are talking about as well. Yeah, check your valves. Yeah. Bell and Nicole. Exactly. check your mother-loving valves. Now, here's the thing. Yes, Char 133. There's a lot of people that are thinking that he was poisoned as well. All I can say is it's a very shocking piece of information, but again, people lose their lives in very shocking ways all the time. You might be I'm not trying to trigger anybody, but you could be talking to Gam Gam literally 5 minutes before they pass, and then they pass out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying? You're talking to Gam Gam, you're talking to your dad, you're talking to your best friend, and then all of a sudden their heart gives out, or they have an aneurysm, or something happens just like that. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? So, real quick, Nicole, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate it. What up, P? What up, Nicole? What up, Nikki? Sup, girl? Also, what's up with Lindsey Graham going to Israel every 2 weeks? I don't know. I honestly don't know, Nikki. You know, I don't know. I really don't. General Genobi, what's up? How you doing? Good morning to you. Happy Sunday. Fun fact, Mitch's house is being renovated. The day after the hospital, the day after he went to the hospital, I'm assuming, while wife is out of the country. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that either. Okay, I don't know. But that's interesting that that's true. There was a guy, looked like a floor salesman or something like that. I mean, is that what they're called? But he's walking out with like pallets of like floor swatches. Is that a thing? But you know what I mean? Samples of carpet and samples of tiles and all that, and hardwood floors, walking out of Mitch McConnell's home. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Mitch McConnell, came out of his coma and was like, we need to do something about the ground, the carpet. It's driving me crazy. Let's just, you know what I mean? Or maybe he woke up one day and he's like, you know what? YOLO. You only live once, and I have got to do something about this damn carpet. It is too stained. Let's get some new ones. I want hardwood floors. I want hardwood floors in this room. You never know. You know what I mean? You never know. I don't know why that happened, but something weird is going on with Mitch McConnell. And now Lindsey Graham, he gone. He gone. Now, I will say this. He has been hardcore, a huge advocate. Lindsey Graham. Back to Lindsey Graham. He's been a huge advocate for the war in Iran. He's been a huge advocate for Israel. All right? He's been a huge advocate for taking over Cuba. He's been a huge advocate for basically taking over the world by stamping that MAGA logo on everything. He has been all up Trump's booty hole. That is for sure, too. All right? I'm just saying the things that are true. Remember when they were on the Air Force One and Trump was talking about what was going on with Greenland and the talks of Cuba and the talks of what's going on in Iran, and Lindsey Graham is off to the side on Air Force One, just yeah, like he was just going crazy, like he was about to skadoosh right there. You know what I mean? He didn't have to stroke anything. He was about to explode, right? Because this is what he wanted. This is what he's always wanted, guys. For decades, he's been wanting this. All right? And now, he gone. Okay? Spooky Boo. Sup, Spooky Boo. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Thank you. My son just got a check engine light. Wrist tattoo. I'm sorry. Why? Why? Okay. So he doesn't forget? Like, that's what the light on the car, on the dashboard is for. You feel me? But hey, everybody got a reason. I met a girl, just a left turn, sorry, but speaking of tattoos, here's a quick little left turn, all right? Sorry for the left turn, but this just sparked this story. I remember meeting a girl that literally had tattoos on both her hands that were tattoos of ropes, right? Tattoos of ropes on her wrists. And they broke on the inside of her wrists, right? They were broken on the inside of her wrist. And it said, frayed knot on her wrists underneath these ropes, right? Met this girl long time ago. And I was like, so, yo, why do you have tattoos? Why do you have a tattoo that says frayed knot on your wrists? And she said, honestly, I was really zooted one day, and a friend of mine told me the joke about the rope walking into a bar. You heard about the joke about the rope walking into a bar? And it was something like, the punchline is frayed knot. Something like that. But anyway, I don't remember the actual joke, but it was something like a rope walks into the bar and the bartender asks him the rope something, and then they say, no, I'm afraid not. Right? Yeah, the crickets are deserved. Anyway, so it's a weird joke. It's kind of like I forgot the punchline, but it was like, no, I'm afraid not, which she literally said while she was in the tattoo parlor thinking of a tattoo to get. She realized the joke. Like, she got the joke finally. So she's like, oh my God, I need to do that on my. And so she tattooed the frayed knot thing on her wrist so she wouldn't forget it. Literally, frayed knot. Yeah, it took a minute, apparently, for her, like a grenade. It took a minute, and then it finally went off. She's like, oh my God, epiphany, hilarious. So she tattooed frayed knot on her wrists. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. So I was like, aha, okay. Okay, so moving on. It was something like, are you something? And she, like, and it says, no, I'm afraid not. Right? Anyway, I just don't remember the full joke. But anyway, yeah, the most random, most unneeded tattoo I've ever seen. But she thought it was so funny that she tattooed that on her doggone wrists with the rope. And on the inside, frayed knot. So, okay. Yeah, she just thought it was hilarious. But anyway, sorry for the side note. Okay, we're back to Lindsey Graham being, oh my God, he's dead. So, like I said, Skeet said I didn't get the joke. Like I said, I need to look it up. We'll talk about it another time. We got to get into this, all right? Lindsey Graham, gone, 71 years old, all right? Trump says he was like family, which is interesting because they seem to kind of butt heads recently, and then they kind of got back to being cool with each other. I'm talking about Lindsey Graham and Trump, but I think Lindsey Graham was really all about Trump during this time because Trump was doing exactly what Lindsey Graham wanted to have happen. He wanted this war. In fact, like I said, he was talking about taking over Cuba. He's been talking about just literally strong arming, basically pushing their way to invade and basically take over Greenland and all that. Okay? So it's pretty insane. So let's take a look at this. All right, we got a bunch of things to look at. So South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham passed away from a quote-unquote brief and sudden illness on July 11th. His office said in a statement he was only 71 years old. And I'm going to be real, 71 is still very, very young in my personal opinion. All right? That's just saying, it's still, there's with how the world is nowadays, pretty young. All right. In his more than 3 decades in Washington, Graham played major roles in crafting key pieces of legislation affecting millions of Americans' lives, while also developing a reputation as a stark foreign policy hawk. President Trump, a friend of Graham's, said he spoke with the South Carolina lawmaker shortly before emergency responders arrived at his home in Washington on Saturday night. Emergency personnel said they were conducting CPR on a man suffering from cardiac arrest. There it is right there, guys. Cardiac arrest, according to public safety radio feeds reviewed by U.S. Today, the article we're reading here. Graham's cause of death has not been publicly confirmed. So Trump said about Graham, saying that he was like a member of the family who knew how to work with members of both political parties and loved serving in the U.S. Senate. You know, it's crazy how he was senator for, like, he was in office, an elected official for so damn long. That's crazy. And a lot of these people perish while still in office. It's insane. But anyway, moving on. Graham had recently returned from a meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. I'm not even going to say that. Zelensky, okay? So, and he had called Trump about the Save America Act, a sweeping piece of voting legislation. He's a tough one to lose, Trump said in an interview, phone interview on Sunday's NBC show, Meet the Press. He was great. He was unique in every way, actually. And if you don't know what he looks like, there is a photo of Lindsey Graham. So Trump says he has an individual in mind as his preference to replace Graham as the next U.S. Senator from South Carolina, but declined to reveal the person. He may not have somebody in mind, but he's probably just saying it just to say it. You see what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I also find really crazy is that Lindsey Graham hasn't even been cold in the ground yet. In fact, he hasn't even been put in the ground yet. They're about to do an autopsy. We're going to find out his cause of demise and all that. And they're already talking about a replacement for Lindsey Graham. That's crazy. They're already talking about, like, oh, yeah, you know, Trump's already going, oh, I got a great guy. Great. I have somebody, I think he would be great. Like, what? Already? Damn, that's crazy. You know, you'd think it'd be one way, but I guess it's Beyonce. You know, you're replaceable. Get it? To the left. Nobody? I thought it was funny. Moving on, though. So he says, I have somebody that I think would be great, but I don't want to say it now because it is too soon with Lindsey. Yeah, him dead like not even 12 hours. Blood clot. What the hell? Like, oh, yeah. You know, we already know who's going to replace him. He's a great guy. But I don't want to tell you who it is. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? Moving on. This is what he said on Meet the Press. Maybe we'll pull that up here in a little bit. I don't even want to talk about anybody, but I do have somebody who I think is really good. Just like that. Dude ain't even cold in the ground yet. Dude is probably still getting transported to the corner. You know what I mean? He's en route. His vessel that carried his soul is being transported over to the medical examiner's office right now as we speak. He ain't even cold yet, his body. And we're already talking about who next? Who got next, y'all? You got next? Who got next, man? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Why even ask that question? Mr. President, do you know of anybody else that could take over Lindsey Graham's spot? Like, what? He ain't even cold yet. He's still room temperature. Damn. Under South Carolina law, Governor McMaster, a Trump ally, is tasked with appointing an interim replacement before a special election will be held in August to choose the next senator. So it will be happening. That whole thing will happen as soon as next month, which is not very far away from now. But diggity damn. Diggity damn. All right. That's quick. That is really, really quick. They'll have some people joining, Trump said, of the special election. Some are good, some are bad. But I have somebody that I like, but I'm not going to tell you who now because it is too soon. Thank you so much for saying that, Mr. Trump, Mr. President. All right. Allie, thank you so much for the love. It's because without him, Dems take the Senate. Yes, I know. Ain't that crazy? I think it's really crazy that we have to go so like that has to be done so quickly because it's like, God forbid, you know what I mean? We got to move quick. We need another Republican because if there's not a Republican in the Senate seat, it's a wrap for us. That's really crazy. Just freaking crazy. I will say that. All right. But let's move on. All right. This is all very shocking stuff. I'm going to be real. Okay, this was shocking. Like I said, I literally like rubbed my eyes. I'm like, wait a second, that's got to be a typo. That's got to be a typo. Hold up. You mean Mitch, right? Like they finally coming to the truth that Mitch is gone? But no, it really is Lindsey Graham. Crazy.
On the phone is NBC's Meet the Press moderator, Kristen Welker. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us in the wee hours of the morning in D.C. I can't even imagine what you're going through, someone who has followed him closely. Graham was supposed to be a guest on Meet the Press in just a few hours, wasn't he?
He absolutely was, and I think right now the collective feeling is just absolute shock. As you just reported, he was just in Ukraine. He had been in Ankara, Turkey. I just spoke with one of his top staffers who said there was no indication that he was not feeling well. This person described him always as the Energizer Bunny. I spoke with Senator Lindsey Graham just the other day, talked to him about his trip. The fact that he was about to go to Ukraine, he was very interested in talking about that. He is, of course, a staunch ally of Ukraine's, has advocated for more support for Ukraine, and has also been very firm in terms of the war in Iran. He was prepared to send the message it's time to really escalate with Iran. And so this is just an absolutely shocking development.
Kristen, I hear the shock.
And devastating, I should say. Yeah, this is someone who has allies on both sides of the aisle. He had just co-sponsored legislation to ramp up pressure on Russia, had just gotten the president on board with that. And so he's worked across the aisle with a number of different lawmakers, Senator Richard Blumenthal, Sheldon Whitehouse, to name just a few. And so I think that Washington is going to wake up this morning, and quite frankly, so much of this country and the world, and just be in shock and absolutely devastated.
Yeah. I can hear that shock and devastation in your voice, Kristen. And as we're talking to you, we are showing these photos, just videos of that meeting the other day. He looked so exuberant and lively. This is breaking news in the middle of the night in D.C. Of course, we've heard from South Carolina's governor, but have we heard from any other leaders at this time? I mean, have you been able to get in touch with anyone else? Have you heard anything?
I haven't. I've called the White House, and as you can imagine, because it's the middle of the night, so far we haven't gotten any reaction. I anticipate that will start to come in the coming hours. But it's worth really underscoring that point. Elise, it's an important one. It's a good one. This was one of the president's closest allies, someone he would golf with, someone who had his ear on a range of topics, but particularly as it related to foreign policy. Senator Graham was one of the more hawkish members of the Republican Party, and did advocate for a forceful response, whether we're talking about Iran or other conflicts globally. And so this was someone who was a real touchstone for President Trump. President Trump, of course, just this week was at the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. He declared that the ceasefire with Iran is now over. And so there's a lot of question about what's going to happen next and what the next steps are going to be. And Senator Lindsey Graham was one of the people who had his ear, was one of the people who was giving him counsel on how he saw these next steps unfolding. And so this is someone who had bipartisan relationships across Washington, but who really had the ear of the president, has been a longtime ally of President Trump's, going back to his first campaign, his first presidency. And so this is going to be a real personal loss for President Trump.
Now, here's the thing. This is the other reason why I think a lot of people are looking at this and thinking, because we haven't really discussed or really tapped any political. We haven't waxed political We haven't waxed political on this show in a little while. All right, I'm going to say that. There's been a lot of other cases going on. There's been other things that have been popping off. Now, one thing's for sure. A lot of people are side-eyeing this situation because here's the thing. Iran, allegedly, according to Trump was saying that he was put on the top of their list of people to take out, if you get what I'm saying. Okay? Can't really say that word very often, all right? But he basically said, that he is top on the list. Iran's line is we are going to take you out, right? So he basically said on Truth Social and all that stuff, he said, hey, they are planning on taking me out. They want to take me out. So I already have certain things lined up because if you take me out, we will take you back to the Stone Age, right? A whole civilization's going to die tonight. You're right. Bombs, obliteration, complete obliteration, right? So this is what he said just a few days ago. Now, like I said, I haven't talked about much political lately, okay? We haven't done politics. We haven't been, white girl politicking at all, right? But we gonna do this, all right? We gonna talk about this, all right? So he said that just a few days ago. And then this happens with Lindsey Graham. So, of course, a lot of people are going, wait a second, did you miss? Wait a second, is it supposed to be Graham and, right? There's a lot of people that are sitting here going, wait, something is not right here. What's up with that? What's going on? Is this a foreshadowing of something else? Or no? Now, here's the thing. What up, Chuck? What's up, man? So again, there's a reason why people are sitting here going, wait a second, that doesn't, something ain't right. Something ain't right here. Because you already heard Trump being like, they're going to try to take me out, right? Complete annihilation if they do, right? They have all their missiles pointed right over to Iran if they were ever to Trump. You see what I'm saying? So, because of that, then this happens. And now everybody's like, wait, what the F is going on? What is going on here? Is this a foreshadowing? Is this, if you will, the amuse bouche before the main event, before the main course? What's going on? So now everybody's wondering, this meeting that he had with Zelensky, did something happen while he was there? And then he went over to, went back home, did his thing, and then, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people that are wondering what's going on. And yeah, Trump is older. He is. He's 80. He's the oldest president that we have. Oldest sitting president that we've ever had, if I have that correct. He's an old man. And, he's got some things going on with himself as well, physically. He's got some ailments, stuff like that. That's it. But people are wondering what the F is going on, especially with this, especially after this happened. And then you also got to remember, you got Mitch McConnell and they're trying to, you know what I mean? They're trying to weekends at Bernie his ass too. You know what I'm saying? They're literally trying to do that right now with Mitch McConnell. He ain't out here. He ain't out here. Have you seen him out here? Has he been walking around and standing in one spot randomly lately? You remember those videos of Mitch McConnell walking around and he just freeze? Or when he's doing press conferences and he's talking, he just freezes harder than Joe Biden. Remember all that? We ain't seen him. So they're doing a whole Weekends at Bernie's thing with the theater of the mind. They're like, oh, no, he's at home. He's just locked up at home. He's recovering, He just recovering from things. But we don't even know if he gone or if he alive and kicking. You see what I'm saying? And now you got Lindsey Gazon. What in the F is going on here? Now, this could very well just be natural, a natural cause. This may not have been something from an outside entity, from like something nefarious. But at the same time, people are looking at it like that. People are. Let's continue, though.
As well, we have not heard from him yet. We have not heard from the White House, but I anticipate that we will.
And you mentioned, Kristen, not just for President Trump, not just for the people who worked with him closely, but all of America. Senator Graham was a longtime public servant. He had been in the Senate since 2003. He also served as a congressman before that. How else will he be remembered by the American people as this news continues to break?
Well, I think you're right to point that out. This is someone who is in so many ways just engraved into our politics. He has been a U.S. Senator since 2002, was seeking his
forever
term in office.
Have mercy.
Had a somewhat spirited primary battle, did emerge victorious from that battle with the support, again, of President Trump. But he's someone who's really been at the forefront of some of the major debates that this country has seen throughout the course of those 4 terms that he has served so far. And I think that so many people will always remember that image of him and the late Senator John McCain. The two of them were a force. They were dear friends, and they were very powerful senators. Senator Graham, of course, sat on the powerful Judiciary Committee. They are just about to start hearings for the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, so he certainly would have been a part of those hearings, and that was part of what we were going to discuss with him today, to look forward, what would be next on Iran? What were his thoughts about his trip to Ukraine? How does he see this confirmation hearing unfolding? He's really at the center of so many foreign and domestic politics of this country. And from that perspective, he's just someone, I think, who will be greatly missed by people on both sides of the aisle.
Interesting. I don't know if he's going to be greatly missed by both sides of the aisle, but he will be missed by one side of the aisle. I will say that. Black Lake, again, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hell gained another demon. Damn. That is some fighting words, girl. Damn. None of these people are devastated. They're grieving the possibility of losing the midterms. They're all disgusting. Damn. That one cut like a knife. Let me just say this. I agree with the last part. All right, I agree. I mean, I didn't agree with his politics and how he was maneuvering and all that. I don't agree with all that too. But here's the thing. They're grieving because midterms are coming. A senator gone. They got to fill up that seat with another Republican who is MAGA. Okay, you need a MAGA senator back in his spot. This is also, like we've been hearing from NBC News, this is somebody who is definitely in Trump's ear, talking, plotting, planning, getting all these things going with what's going on overseas and all that, right? So again, yikes. It's bad. Very, 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 very bad. Now, I do want to share this with y'all first. Okay. Hold on. Whoops. I meant this. This is from Nick Sorter. All right. So breaking, Lindsey Graham passed away, okay, at 71 hours after returning home from Ukraine. So now everybody, like I said, a lot of people are starting to side-eye the situation because of the meeting that he had with Zelensky. And then he came back home and now he gone, right? Now, again, it could be natural. Could have just been a thing where he, I don't know. Anything's possible, right? Senator Graham passed after a brief and sudden illness following reports of a cardiac arrest at his home. Coincidentally, a similar 911 call related to a cardiac arrest at Mitch McConnell's D.C. home was made just weeks ago as well. Yeah. He has not been seen in public since. But here's the only thing. The only issue I have with this, okay, because they are definitely weekend at Bernie's in Mitch McConnell. But here's the thing. Lindsey Graham, Santo, you got me. That just threw me off. I saw that comment. I'm sorry. Diabolical. That threw me off. But you know for a fact that they're weekend at burning, okay, Mitch McConnell. But why wouldn't they just say he gone if he really is gone? And I'm talking about Mitch McConnell. Because let's be real, Lindsey Graham, he gone. And it was within hours. Seems almost like within minutes, the world knew that Lindsey Graham is gone. So if Mitch McConnell is just hanging by a thread, they might as well just tell us that rather than just being like, no, he's fine. He's doing great. He's doing everything that he needs to do, so on and so forth. Come on. If he's literally on his deathbed and he can't, and he's a vegetable, he can't really do his job now, can he? Do you understand? That's what I mean by weekend at burning it. All right? But let's take a look real quick. We're going to look at that video here in a second. But thank you, Allie. I really do appreciate it. He'll be missed because he was a good politician till 16. I'm done. Y'all are some diabolical mother lovers. I'm done. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. This is allegedly hours ago. Okay, before the 911 call, basically meeting up with Zelensky. And I'm going to sit here and say this. No, I do not think that Zelensky did something to him. All right. I really do not think that Zelensky did anything to him. All right. Let me make that abundantly clear. All right. But I understand the concern. He just came back from overseas. Traveling can be very taxing on the body. Let's not forget that, too. If you're traveling a lot and doing all that, it can be very stressful. It can be very taxing on your body and your health. Let's just be real. All right? So let's take a listen. Let's take a look at this.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, Lindsey.
Yeah. Got a little update for you here.
Yeah.
Just tell me when
Crazy.
I can talk. But good visit with the president, right?
Yeah, I think that we had really a good meeting.
Yeah, I
the
think
mood
so
was
too,
good,
yeah.
and we had some very important results. And I think that the decision of President Trump about licenses, positive signals about Patriot licenses, very important.
I mean, again, you know, I just want to make this abundantly clear. This could be something nefarious could have happened here, or because there's people here that are sharing videos of him talking like this one here. Hold on. My mouse is tripping balls. But look, Spencer Hakimian, okay, just said this was Lindsey Graham just yesterday. He looked perfectly healthy. But here's the thing. Life be lifing out here, y'all. Life be lifing out here. Just saying. Hold on one second. Kate B, thank you so much for being a member of the past 3 months. I appreciate it. You said, may he have the afterlife he deserves. There it is. That could mean many different things, everybody. I don't know if you meant that like with love or with like venom and vitriol. I don't know. But sure. So let's take a look at this. Again, he looked perfectly healthy. But again, let's not forget the world that we live in. All right. Hold on. Angelina, thank you so much for the love, being a member for the past 8 months. I appreciate it. I wonder if he met with JD when he got back from Ukraine. I guess maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know where the joke is there. No disrespect, but please expand on that because I don't know what I'm missing there. But moving on. All right. He seemed in perfect health, but welcome to situations when people lose their lives in a dramatic and sudden way. Let's take a look at this, shall we?
I'm pleased to announce, as of about 30 minutes ago, we've reached agreement with the White House on a version of the Russian sanctions bill that they will support. It means it's going to become law. So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war.
Called Ukraine very effective in terms of drone warfare, really one of our countries.
The road to ending this war, the road to peace, passes through Beijing more than it does Washington, Kyiv, or Moscow. China has an oversized influence. I'd like them to use their influence for the good of the world. Yeah. I don't believe Putin is there yet, but it wouldn't take much to get him there. And the sooner we can have a dialogue about peace, the quicker this war is over.
It's Japan's news agency. I just been back from NATO summit Ankara.
I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war.
Okay, I mean, and that's what he's saying here. And of course, I'm going to play the rest of it, but I do want to read this here. Thank you so much for the Sue. Okay, thank you, Sue, for being a member for the past 2 months. I really do appreciate it. Yes, I do believe he had a heart attack due to traveling, lying, butt bumping, etc. Damn. That baby had a lot going on. Love you, Pascal. Love you too, girl. I appreciate you. Here's the thing. The thing that, all right. We gonna discuss that. We gonna talk about we gonna address that. We gonna address that. The lying and traveling, we've been known that. He's a politician, okay? They all lie. Okay? It's like breathing, you know? Do politicians lie? Yes, of course they do. You expected anything different, baby. But here's the thing. We gonna talk about that other part. It's gonna get smelly. Just 1 second. Let's finish this here real quick. All right.
Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
That was crazy that the church bells were ringing. You know what I'm saying? Almost like a warning, you know? You know? But anyway. Still going.
We have a magic moment in time here. In the coming months, if we do this right, increase Ukraine's lethality, get people to help us with Putin rather than propping him up, we can end this war.
Long time no see.
Okay, now, seemed perfectly healthy, right? The bells did toll, did they not? I don't know. You're about to have a heart attack. I don't know. But that is very interesting, right? And then he paused and he kind of looked up to listen to the bells. Hell's bells! You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. I'm not. I don't wish anybody going to hell. Okay, like I said, yeah. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. This is a very interesting series of events. All right. First off, before we continue, okay, we're not done yet. We're still continuing, but I need y'all to do me a solid. Okay, hit the like button down below, please. Crush that subscribe button. Subscribe, please and thank you. Please and thank you. We're gonna talk. We're here to talk about it all. All right. We're here to discuss it all. This is obviously a very shocking turn of events. A lot of people are wondering what the F happened here. It seems like it was just a simple heart attack. He's 71 years old. Yes, I do still think that that is young, okay? But 71, if he's out there, he living on the edge, you know what I'm saying? He out here, no one has to know, you know what I mean? Then, you never know. You never know. Now, we got to talk about that, and we're going to talk about that here really quick. ZH, thank you so much for the love. If foul play, it is Russian operatives infiltrating Ukraine. Death in 24 hours sounds like a Putin poison op. Sheesh. Okay. They have done it in Ukraine before. Double dun dun dun. Well, ZH, I'm going to be real. Anything's possible. We just going to keep it. We just going to keep it on the. We just going to leave it on the table. Anything's possible. All right? Anything is possible. Okay? Super May, thank you so much for the super chat. Now, let's talk about it. Let's address the elephant in the room. Was Lindsey Graham in the closet? Here's the thing. There are plenty of people out here. There are plenty of men that have lived their lives sans wife, sans marriage, sans children, and they are not homosexual at all. They're not living in the closet. They just maybe just don't have, maybe they don't have that je ne sais quoi, or as the kids say, riz. Maybe they just don't have the riz for that. Or maybe he just didn't have time. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it. Ladies and germs, let's talk about it like adults. Okay, we can have a conversation about this and be adult-like about it. Yes, creep, like him asexual. Maybe he had no interest in the females or the males. Maybe he just enjoyed his life doing what he was doing. The politics. The politics was his main chick. There were no side chicks because this politicking made him feel so good. And that's all he gave a damn about. But when you do see him out there, like Disneyland, it's a small world after all, and he's wearing the princess crown and like the tiara and holding the wand. I'm sorry. That does make you wonder what the F is going on. He went to mother-loving Disneyland by his doggone self. But here's the thing. That's true, Tammy. If he was out here bumping uglies with other people, who gives a damn? Unless somebody comes forward and says that he was committing crimes, actual crimes, that'd be a different situation. But if he's out here gallivanting with scallywags, hitting up blowing up the mother-loving grinder, that ain't my problem. You know what I'm saying? If he wanted to, you know what I'm saying? He had some sugar in his tank for sure, Jay. Okay, yeah. If he liked a little bit more sugar in his coffee, all right, there ain't nothing wrong with. Hey, I'm not here to judge. As long as it's consensual, as long as it's legal, have at it. Enjoy, live your best life. But if you were living a life of being in the closet and your life is that, like, you know what I mean? Like was he was he like the Heath Ledger in Brokeback Mountain? You know what I'm saying? I can't quit you, but you know what I'm saying? But there's all that tension. Because he couldn't just live his happy life free. You know? I'm just asking for a friend. But let's get some of these super chats. Ann. I'll just say Ann. And thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Israel Graham wasn't went against Israel. You think so? Lizrael, I see what you did. Lizrael Graham went against Israel. Did he, though? That would be news to me. Rye the guy. I feel like saying rest in peace is dishonest to say. I think it's more accurate to say rest in war. Lindsey loved war far more than anything else. Yeah, he did. I will say that. He was definitely a warmonger. Abso-freaking-lutely. Like I said, he was on that Air Force One, and that was bliss to him. All right? Like I said, war seems to be the thing that he's like, oh, you know what I mean? Just get some little happy, you know? But I digress. Immortal Badass, thank you so much for being a member for the past 63 months. Damn. Thank you. Wow. You really putting out this song. That's hilarious. Our God is an awesome God. Wow. 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 That is a deep cut. Okay. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people like you that are rejoicing that he is gone. There's a lot of people. Okay. Like I said before, some people just, hell's bells, and that's crazy. So here's the other thing too. There's a lot of people that are going crazy online. Like, if you don't know who this girl is, she crazy. She crazy. Okay. She crazy. If you don't know Laura Loomer, then you ain't watching, you ain't following politics. Okay. She out her doggone mind. But here she says this. We got to look at all sides here. There are people who are going, oh my God, this is a travesty. This is so sad. I can't believe it. And then there's other people that are like, yeah, he gone. You know what I mean? But she says this. Okay. Did Russia just poison Lindsey Graham? Say word. There seriously needs to be an investigation. Russia just sent a delegation to Khamenei's funeral in Tehran, where the IRGC and funeral organizers was calling for myself, President Trump, and Senator Graham to be taken off this planet. Okay? So that's very interesting. This is coming from this is coming from Laura Loomer, though. So you got to take this with a grain of salt. Like the whole container of salt. How's that? All right. You just got to take it with that. All right. But she's saying that they were calling for, why did she lump herself into this conversation? I do not know. But they're saying that they were wanting Trump, Graham, and Laura Loomer gone. Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine 1 day ago calling for a Russian sanctions bill that he claimed the White House supports. Now, he is suddenly dead from a random illness, according to his staff. Did Russia just unalive a U.S. senator? Now, here's the thing. Let me just say this again. I hate to keep saying this over and over and over again, but let me make this abundantly clear. There are plenty of people out here that will be, I'm sorry to say this, but you're going to have people out here that are going to be like, you're going to see them, you're going to be on the phone with them, and then 5 seconds later, they're dead. I'm sorry. That's just what life is. All right? Life has those sudden, shocking moments. It doesn't automatically mean that Russia had something to do with this, or Ukraine had something to do with this. There are things that do happen in real life where there's no type of espionage or nefarious thing going on. This person, this senator, his heart gave out. If it really is a cardiac arrest, his heart gave out. And that's it, right? But let me check a few other things, because I know I saw in the corner of my eye, somebody said, okay, you know what, Jay? Okay, she doesn't need access. She really doesn't need access to this mother-loving internets. There are some people that just shouldn't be allowed to have a phone with access, easy access to the internet. and she is definitely one of them. I'm sorry. She's just knucking futs. Her, Jake Lang. Okay, there's a couple other people that I can't think of right now. All right. Sometimes Trump, because he be out here wilding. You know he out here wilding. You know for a fact he out here wilding from time to time. All right. A whole civilization's gonna die tonight. We're gonna go boom boom. Big huge deals. Big bombs over Iran. Nobody gonna live. Everyone dead. Like he cray. He cray. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. All right. But here's something else. Breaking news. This is interesting. I saw this in the corner of my eye. Thank you to somebody who just said this in the chat. I appreciate it. FBI is assisting police after 71-year-old Lindsey Graham's mysterious death one day after secret Ukraine trip and chilling Iran murder plot. So again, yeah, beyond this world. Okay, I agree, beyond this world. I agree. An investigation is needed. Of course. I just don't think anything nefarious happened, but again, anything's possible. All right? Jennifer Lopez had a singing career. All right? So that means anything is possible. Anything is possible. She's beautiful. Beautiful woman. But she can't sing worth a damn. Okay? And she had a very, lucrative career singing. And she can't sing. So anything is possible, y'all. Anything is possible. Ryder Guy, thank you so much for the love. If they find something weird in his system when they do this autopsy, I guess we'll find out if there's any merit to some of the theories. Yes. Obviously, Ryder Guy. Let's be real. Let's be real. They're going to do an autopsy. They're going to do a toxicology, I'm sure. They're going to find out whatever, okay? And you never know. They'll probably go through his text messages, maybe go through his Grindr app and find out that, I don't know. Find out that whatever, caused this heart attack. You never know. What really caused this heart attack? Was it just natural? Or was it Justin and a couple poppers? We don't know. We will find out, though. We will definitely. Or is it poison? And if it is Justin, because of Grindr and everything, that's why we have to say, BBD, they said it best. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Crickets are warranted. Okay, so let's get into this, guys. Let's get into this. So the FBI has stepped in to assist local authorities in the wake of Lindsey Graham's unexpected death, adding to mounting skepticism surrounding the senator's sudden passing at 71. The office of Graham, who had represented South Carolina since 2002, damn, that's a long time, announced in the early hours of Sunday that the senator passed away from a brief and sudden illness. A 911 call for cardiac arrest was placed from Graham's residence around 8:30 p.m., but no official cause of demise has been confirmed according to multiple reports. Now, the FBI Director Cash Patel wrote on X on Sunday morning that the agency was, quote unquote, assisting local authorities and has made every necessary resource available. So, of course, Graham was a vocal supporter of the U.S. involvement in conflicts abroad, including both the Russia-Ukraine war and the Iran clashes. Amidst the 4th of July recess break in Washington, D.C. this past week, Graham traveled to Ukraine, met with Zelensky, and even visited a drone facility, which was later destroyed by Russians. So, Graham has also been targeted by Iran leaders. An Iranian state TV host noted in a Sunday broadcast that she congratulated the Iranian people on the demise of Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been sent to hell. Whoa. Whoa, that's crazy. Political commentators, liberal and conservative alike, have stepped up with their own theories about Graham's cause of demise. So again, you got Iranian state TV saying, we got him. That's insane. They're saying congratulations, right? The Iranian people, congratulations to the Iranian people on the demise of Senator Lindsey Graham. He has finally been sent to hell. What? That is insane. But let's not forget, Iran out here playing dirty. I mean, Trump playing dirty too. Let's keep it a bean. And it's always been like this. There's always been this back and forth with Iran. Let's not forget, America has been striking, or Trump, let's just say, because, you know, this is the not our war. You know what I mean? This is not America's war. This is Trump's war. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. But U.S. has been striking Iran. They've been doing that for days. And they still continue to do that right now as we speak. So remember, Trump would be like, they want a peace deal. They're begging for a peace deal. And then they'd be like, no, we're not asking for any peace deal. The hell are you talking about? Ha! You got another thing coming, Trump. You out here saying that we want a peace deal. No, we don't. Hell no, we don't. The hell you talking about, baby? What? We don't want no peace deal. Strait of Hormuz is ours, baby. Whether you like it or not, you want that delicious oil. And it's like, oh my God, it's bad. One moment we think a peace deal's happening or a ceasefire's happening, and then they start dropping bombs on it. So what are we going to do? And now they're going, hey, it's a celebration because Lindsey Graham is dead. That's insane, guys. That's insane. It's been, you know, this is like the Real Housewives of the Hill. All right? Real Husbands of the Hill, actually. Where's Kevin Hart? A bunch of Mitches. Speaking of Mitch, is he alive or dead? Let's move on. So Megan Mobbs, Director Center for American Society and Security at the Independent Women's Forum, a conservative think tank, noted on X that cardiac arrest tells us how his life ended. It does not tell us why his heart stopped. Interesting. So again, he could have taken something while he was out there shaking hands with Zelensky, and while he was on the plane, maybe he got sick, maybe he didn't. But it could be poison. It could be. I'm not leaving that off the table. I'm not throwing that off the table. It could very well be that he got poisoned. But we'll find out once they do their toxicology, once they do their autopsy. She also added that, quote unquote, given the threat environment, the identities of Americans' adversaries, and Senator Graham's prominent role confronting them, the American people deserve certainty. That means a complete forensic autopsy, preservation of all relevant biological specimens, comprehensive toxicology and histology, and consultation with federal law enforcement and counterintelligence authorities. So a conservative commentator also shared a video of Graham on X from Ukraine this week, noting, I'm sorry, but Lindsey Graham dying out of the blue like this doesn't make any sense at all. But here it is. Sure, it is shocking, but people pass away suddenly all the time. We have him on camera yesterday looking perfectly healthy. None of this is making any sense. Like what we talked about, like the video we just showed, right? We just checked that out. We just talked about it as well. And I'm telling you right now, there's a good, strong possibility that he passed away due to a heart attack, and that's it. And it has nothing to do with any outside force. That is possible. But then at the same time, it's possible that something else happened here. I don't know. Don't know. All right. But let us continue on, though. All right. People are absolutely shooketh over this situation. Totally understandable. I get it. I get it. A lot of people are shocked. All right. Let's take a look at this. This is from Trump. Apparently, he's talking about Lindsey Graham in an interview. Let's take a look.
Overnight, the United States lost one of its most influential and consequential senators. Lindsey Graham died Saturday evening after what his office called a brief and sudden illness. He was 71 years old. Just hours earlier, Senator Graham had returned to Washington from a trip to Ukraine. He was scheduled to join us here on Meet the Press this morning for what would have been his 64th appearance. He was one of the broadcast's most frequent guests. Instead, this morning, we remember a man who served South Carolina for more than 2 decades, who helped shape America's foreign policy, whose voice was a constant presence in our national debate, and whose death has left colleagues of both parties in shock. We'll look back at his life, his public service, and his lasting impact on the Senate and the country. And to start us off and do that, joining me now on the phone is President Donald Trump for reaction to the death of his close friend. President Trump, thank you for joining us, and my condolences to you.
Well, thank you. He's a tough one to lose. He was great. He was unique in every way, actually.
He was, Mr. President, and I know that we are all just absorbing this news. We are all in shock. Can you tell us, Mr. President, how you received this news and your immediate gut reaction when you heard it?
So what makes it even stranger is that I got a call last night sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. I had a right to be. And he was a worker. He was really a worker. But he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired. But he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly. But I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate. He was, if he wanted to get something, and he had a unique ability. He was able to deal with Democrats and Republicans. If I had a problem, a real problem, I wouldn't often ask. But if I had a problem with a Democrat, he could work it out. He was a great politician, actually.
Interesting that he says that, saying that he was a great politician, yet there was so much divide, right? There was such a divide within the political realm. And Lindsey Graham is definitely, he's definitely hardcore Trump, hardcore MAGA. And the things that he wanted to have happen are not things that people wanted on the left to happen at all. And they are all happening right now as we speak. So I don't know if he was really like the connection, like the plug for, to bridge the gap between both sides. You know what I mean? To bridge that political aisle. I don't see it. Personally, I don't. Okay. But sure, they're going to say what they need to say, or he's going to say what he needs to say to make it sound like, but let's continue.
he loved his work, Mr. President. Yep. I hear you saying that in this final conversation that you have emblematic. He was tireless, but it brought him such joy, didn't it?
No, there was nobody like him. He loved being a politician, and he was going to win his election. He was going to win it big. I endorsed him very early. and he was going to win it big. He got it, just had it made, and he just loved being a politician. I said, the reason I'm endorsing you is because I got to make sure you win, because if you didn't win, I don't think you could handle life. I really don't. He was a man, you know, there are guys that can lose and they go into something else. I can't imagine him doing anything else. I said, if you weren't a U.S. Senator, I don't know if you could live very long, and look what happens. He was going to have a big victory. And the people loved him. Everybody loved him. Well, no, he had some enemies. He was a tough cookie. Don't misunderstand. He was a tough cookie in many ways. If he wanted to get something, if he thought he was right and he had people against him, he could be very tough, actually. But he was a good person.
We got some footage of him getting carried out on a stretcher as well. I'm going to be showing you guys that in just a minute. I just want to hear one last piece of this here really quick, and then I'm going to share that footage with you guys here in just a minute.
President, it is just extraordinary. You just spoke with him last night. His office says he passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Are you learning any more details about how and why he may have passed? Did he tell you anything in that phone call, Mr. President, about not feeling well?
No, he said he's a little tired. It was a long trip, you know, many hours. And he had just gotten back. And it must have been right after that, because I understand the police or whoever it is came there at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening, something like that. So somebody notified him. But no, he felt okay. I mean, I actually, on the call, he told me, Kristen, he said, you know, I feel good, but I'm tired. He was fine. I knew him well. He would let you know if he wasn't feeling well. He had days where he didn't feel so well, and he'd let you know about it. But he was a fantastic person. He was a man who, you're going to watch, it's going to be a very big thing with him. He's going to be appreciated more now than he was when he was living, I think.
Interesting. Okay. Johnny Knoxville, thank you so much. Tinfoil hat nut jobs unite. Yeah, there's going to be, like I said, there's going to be so many different theories going on with this. I'm just saying, get ready. Get ready for the theories. Get ready for the tinfoil hats. Get ready for the conspiracy theories. I mean, let's not forget, there's just, the timeline is a little bit strange. You got to remember, Iran was basically saying that they wanted to take out Trump. They said that they got him top on the list. He's number one on the list. In fact, they were holding up banners saying, like, take out Trump, basically, right? For the most part. I got to use these code words, right? And then all of a sudden, you got Lindsey Graham passing away. So, yeah, I can understand why some people are going to be a little bit shocked, a little bit. I can understand why the instant tinfoil hats are just getting plopped on people's heads, because the timeline seems too coincidental. It just seems too coincidental. But it could also be, like I said, just a tragic situation. Just a very, very tragic situation. Okay? So yeah. So that's the thing. Shocking stuff. Very, very shocking stuff. We got some more stuff, but I'm going to share this with y'all here. Because there's apparently, from TMZ, exclusive photos from him actually being taken out on a stretcher. So take a look at all this. So these are the photos that they have right now coming out, showing him being, pulled out on the stretcher, which is very, very interesting. And then you got like other people like Nick Sorter. We also got a response from Alex Jones. We got to take a look at that here too. But even Nick Sorter even said this too. It's no secret that I'm no fan of Lindsey Graham, but this must be a full, comprehensive autopsy, and the results must be released to the public. Graham had no kids. He was never married, so it's unclear who makes that call. But Americans deserve transparency here. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that we deserve as much transparency as possible because, again, if this is some sort of terroristic attack on our elected officials, this is a big problem. Okay? That would be a very, 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 very big problem. So you would hope FBI, see, this is when I get a little worried about the FBI. This is when I get a little worried about the FBI because the thing is the FBI be FBIing out here lately, okay? And yeah, I'm hoping that they can kind of give us more insight and actually do their mother-loving job. That's what I'm hoping for, right? That they just do their mother-loving job. But hold on, guys. Let me pull up a few more things. Okay. But yeah, guys, I mean, again, I got a poll pinned to the bottom of the chat. So go over there, check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this was just a heart attack, a natural, regular heart attack, right? Or do you think that there's something else going on here? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, let me get this. Yep, here we go. Alex Jones. We got to take a look at this. This is just crazy. All right. The international war criminal. This is what he put up. He says the international war criminal Lindsey Graham died last night at the age of 71. View his obituary below. Okay. So let's take a look at what he has to say.
Death is the great equalizer. Death is the expiration date that God puts on us all. The weak, the powerful, the famous, the unknown. Lindsey Graham at 71 died of cardiac arrest last night in Washington, D.C. Lindsey Graham was the protege of one of the worst warmongers in modern history, John McCain. Lindsey Graham helped engineer all of the modern wars we've seen in the last 30 years. Lindsey Graham has been at the heart in the last 16 years of overthrowing governments in Ukraine with the State Department and engineering this war that's killed millions of people and that threatens thermonuclear Armageddon. Lindsey Graham, a few days before he died, was in Ukraine during all the different secret factories for the robot drones. And he was an ever-Trumper who consistently tried to undermine America first. The guy was a total globalist and also the equivalent of an Israeli agent. And, of course, Israel's leadership is mourning his death.
So tell us how you feel about him, Alex Jones. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'll let him finish.
Now we'll have, obviously, a special election because he just won re-election for 6 years in his state. So I don't like to speak ill of the dead. His record speaks for itself. I saw him do an interview about a week and a half ago. His face was very puffy. He looked very, very unhealthy. And, quite frankly, he looks about like how Trump looks and showed signs just overall of serious issues. I'd also seen him on the campaign trail appear to be drunk quite a bit. We also saw him spend 3 days alone a few months ago, right before.
Hold on. He said he saw him drunk. See, that's the thing. A lot of people have been saying that he's been out here like that he's a drinker, that he just drinks, right? I don't know about all that, but wow. So he out here at certain events just getting blasted. Just red Solo cup. You know what I'm red Solo cupping out here. You know what I'm saying? Have mercy. Gay frogs. So let's continue.
His face was very puffy. He looked very, very unhealthy. And, quite frankly, he looks about like how Trump looks and showed signs just overall of serious issues. I'd also seen him on the campaign trail appear to be drunk quite a bit.
Damn.
We also saw him spend 3 days alone a few months ago, right before the election in Disney World in Orlando, bizarrely walking around with a bubble wand, following little kids around. The man was extremely compromised, blackmailed for his lifestyle.
Hold on. Hold on. It's hard to get, like, I try to cut through the grovelness of his voice, you know what I'm saying, to hear what he's saying. But sometimes his grovel, like how his voice is, it's hard to hear what he's saying when you're just hearing the, like he just needs like a glass of water. You know what I'm saying? Like forever dehydrated. You feel me? But hold on. Let's just play a little bit of that. Let's roll it back again. Hold on.
And, you know, quite frankly, he looks about like how Trump looks, and showed signs just overall of serious issues. I'd also seen him on the campaign trail appear to be drunk quite a bit. We also saw him spend 3 days alone a few months ago, right before the election, in Disney World in Orlando, bizarrely walking around with a bubble wand, following little kids around.
It's weird.
The man was extremely compromised, blackmailed for his lifestyle. That was well known. We're not.
What lifestyle? Like he was in the closet, or are you talking about you talking about something even like something disturbing? You see what I'm saying? What lifestyle, Mr. Jones? Come on now. Come on, Mr. Jones. Will you explain that to us? Mr. Jones and me. Can you explain that real quick, homie? Like, you know for a fact, like Alex Jones be out here. You know what I mean? He got a permanent tinfoil hat on the top of his head. That freeze frame is exactly everything. It explains everything, this freeze frame right now. Look at his face right now. That is Alex Jones, baby. So I'm wondering, are they saying like in the closet because he liked the mans? Or are they saying like because, you know, he out here in the streets holding Disney World wands and tiaras amongst children by himself? Is that what he's trying to say? I don't know. But it was weird seeing him out there by his damn self, wearing tiaras and bubble wands and stuff. No grown man is doing that, y'all. Okay? You might do that in jest for your kid. You maybe you're that out there with your kid. You see what I'm saying? You're chilling with your kid, and you put on the tiara and the wand to, you know, to make your little girl like laugh a little bit or just goof off with your child. But you're not going over there and just going, "Ooh, let me get me a tiara and a bubble wand." Woo! I feel good now. Let's go on and see the most happiest place on earth now. You're not doing that, guys. You're not. You're not doing that. Majority of the time, you're doing that as a parent to make your kids feel good and, you know, be a part of your child's moments and memories. You're not walking around with a damn bubble wand and a mother-loving pink tiara walking around amongst children all by your mother-loving self. I'm sorry. You just don't do it. I'm sorry. That triggered me. I'm going to calm down. But that still doesn't make sense, man. I don't give a damn. Some people are like, oh, just let him live his life. He just wants to walk around wearing a tiara and a bubble wand all by his damn self. Does that make sense to you? Hippie Vibe Tribe said, Graham felt bonita. I mean, okay, fine. You want to live your best life, but it's a little weird. I'm going to have to find that photo. Give me a second. I'm going to find it. Let's finish what Alex Jones got to say. We're about to go into the vortex, deep into the vortex of a rabbit hole. Okay, that is just how Alex Jones be. Okay, hold on. JLK, thank you so much for the love. Alex Jones would have been right there with Lindsey at Disney if he got the invite. Oh, you never know. You never know. You never know. But let's listen. You know, this is yeah.
Told who at his house was with him when he died, but we can probably get a good imagination on that. But he is now beyond the Israelis' control. He's now beyond the neocons' control. He is now gone over the other side and is in God's complete control. And I'm not going to judge where his spirit is going to be going. But I would just tell all the neocons, all the globalists, and the rest of them that you too will face judgment. You too have an expiration date, and you will pay for all of your crimes in this life and the next. And we have all these other neocons in the Senate that are blocking the SAVE Act. Graham had said he was going to vote for the SAVE Act because of pressure from Trump for voter ID, basic systems like that. We're 3 months out from the midterms. And with what's happening to the economy, with the Strait of Hormuz being closed and the rest of it, it's going to be really bad for the Republicans. And I still have major issues with Trump, but overall, we don't want the Democratic Socialists basically taking over the Democratic Party, making it even worse than it's been. But Graham, back when this war started 135 days ago, said it would probably just last 4 days. He said a few thousand Marines could take the Strait of Hormuz. The man was either delusional or lying to everybody. And he wants ground troops, or he wanted ground troops. Israel wants ground troops. And they've really suckered us into this war. We've sleptwalked into this war that doesn't end well. Iran's main card is the Strait of Hormuz, economic warfare. They can keep it closed indefinitely. And that's why Trump has to get an off-ramp from this war. But Iran is being belligerent. They don't hold all the cards and is really pushing too far, asking for us to remove our troops from the Middle East and give them $500 billion reparations. That's just not going to happen. So you have these two pig-headed sides coming together. Trump says the goal is to open the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the Strait was open before Israel started this war and drug us into it. So at the end of the day, I was right about it. Tulsi Gabbard was right about it. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs were right about it. But Trump ignored the facts, ignored the Pentagon assessment, ignored the IDF assessment that this wouldn't work, and went with the Mossad, Ben-Gvir, and, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu. So all of the Israel firsters in their eighth front war, the eighth front in the war, propagandizing us, they're the ones that are wrong. They're the ones that are discredited. They're the ones that were never Trumpers. And they're the ones pointing their fingers at us saying, we aren't MAGA. Well, I was never MAGA. I'm 1776. I supported MAGA, but I don't want to just make America great. I want to make it free and prosperous and have our soft power again, but people wanting to follow our example because we're a free, open country, not the imperial tyranny we've pretty much become. That's the facts. So Lindsey Graham has made the jump into hyperspace. We'll all join him at one time or another, so get right with God. And I'll see you today with my syndicated...
He just said he just went into hyperspace. Wait a second. He really did. He really just said that.
Front in the war, propagandizing us. They're the ones that are wrong. They're the ones that are discredited. They're the ones that were never Trumpers. And they're the ones pointing their fingers at us saying, we aren't MAGA. Well, I was never MAGA. I'm 1776. I supported MAGA, but I don't want to just make America great. I want to make it free and prosperous and have our soft power again. But people wanting to follow our example because we're a free, open country, not the imperial tyranny we've pretty much become. That's the facts. So Lindsey Graham has made the jump into hyperspace. We'll all join him at one time or another, so get right with God. And I'll see you today with my syndicated...
Oh, my God. He went into hyperspace. I like you can't make this stuff up. That's Alex Jones, everybody. And that's his response to all this. You know, he's calling Lindsey Graham a warmonger. And then he also posted this as well. This is Lindsey Graham checking out the drones in Kyiv. Okay, checking out the drones. This drone manufacturing place in Kyiv, and apparently that place got bombed after Graham went and checked it out. All right, but he's also like, there's a photo of him actually holding holding one of the drones and all that. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like I said, he had a vocation, it seems, for war. You know, it's like, like a priest, someone who sees the calling of becoming a servant for God, right? Someone to tell, to speak the word of the Lord, right? They find their vocation. This was literally his vocation. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was, not out here getting married or having children or anything like that, because he was too busy trying to monger war. I don't know. But this is something that a lot of people have their theories about what's happened here. Let's check this out.
Going to begin our extensive coverage with News Nation's Tom Dempsey. He's live for us in our nation's capital. Good morning to you, Tom. Graham's death, unexpected to say the least. What further details are you learning for us?
Yeah, a lot of shock in the nation's capital this morning, Anna, as you can imagine. Well, Senator Graham's team not sharing too many details as far as what exactly happened, only saying the senator died from a brief and sudden illness. His team posted overnight to X announcing this shocking announcement and saying that the family was asking for prayers and privacy right now. But Graham actually visited Ukraine only days ago, where he met with leader Volodymyr Zelensky to talk about the ongoing war in Europe and sanctions against Russia. His death, though, like I said, has shocked the political world here in D.C. Graham, of course, served as a very close ally of President Trump, often offering foreign policy advice and sometimes even golfing with the president. The senator will definitely be remembered as a war hawk who supported strikes against Iran, for example, as well as the Ukrainian war effort. He was also a very staunch supporter of Israel. His career in Congress stretched back decades, first being elected to the House back in 1994 and later to the Senate in 2002. Before coming to Congress, though, he served in the Air Force as well as the South Carolina Air National Guard. His Senate website says he grew up in a blue-collar family and became the first member to go to college. So many details, though, surrounding his death, though, still remain unknown, but we might learn more as this morning goes along, Anna.
All right, and Tom, as millions on the East Coast are waking up this morning to this breaking news, there's just this outpouring of reaction. What are people saying about the late senator?
Yeah, so as we just showed right there, Senator Graham's career in Congress stretched decades, so we've been seeing reactions coming in literally from all around the world. As we said, he was a staunch supporter of Ukraine aid and a staunch supporter of Israel. We saw Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu post a picture of himself with Graham and writing, quote, "He devoted his life to defending America, strengthening our alliance, and standing up for the free world. Israel has lost one of its greatest friends. America has lost a great patriot. I have lost a beloved friend." South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster describing Graham as irreplaceable and the news of his death as devastating before going on to write, quote, "The fiercest of fighters for South Carolina and America and a loyal and steadfast friend." Senate Majority Leader John Thune wrote on X, quote, "He was a strong advocate for the United States and a strong ally to freedom-loving countries around the globe." One sort of perspective of all this that we need to mention is that sort of the political perspective of all this, Anna. Republicans have a very close majority, a tight majority in the Senate right now, and Graham's death will obviously make that majority even slimmer. And of course, Senator Mitch McConnell right now in the hospital with some sort of illness, undisclosed illness. So right now, as far as the short-term votes in the Senate, going to be very tight for Republicans. Anna?
Yeah, and we want to make sure we have the right tone today, and that we don't come across as cold and callous at all. These two major figures in the Republican Party, McConnell and Graham. McConnell living, Graham passing away, and this breaking news today. But how does South Carolina fill this seat, Tom?
Yeah, so the governor can appoint a temporary replacement immediately. That's according to the New York Times. That will obviously be one of the focuses today and in the days ahead as to who his temporary replacement could be. But also, too, Senator Graham faced re-election later this year on Election Day, and he easily won the Republican primary in South Carolina. So come November, voters in South Carolina will be able to vote in a full-time person to take over this seat once held by Senator Graham. Again, he's held that seat since 2002, but his death this morning bringing some shocking news here in D.C. and across the country, Anna.
All right, News Nation's Tom Dempsey, live for us in Washington. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Man. Hold on. Let's continue on. We got a few things. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Man. Let's take a look at this.
So if you're just
From
joining
Fox.
us this morning, overnight, we learned of the shocking death of Senator Lindsey Graham, passing away suddenly at 71 years old. His birthday was just last Thursday.
Senator Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine on Friday, where he met with President Zelensky, and he was even scheduled to do media interviews just this morning to talk about that time in Ukraine.
Fox News senior medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel joins us now. Good morning, Dr. Siegel. This news, so tragic, so sad, and also so sudden. I mean, Senator Graham, as Rachel just said, was going to be on the media rounds today talking about his trip to Ukraine, which he just got back from 48 hours ago.
Well, first of all, I want to, just repeat before I get to the medical part what Ainsley just said on there. What a great human being, and so great for the state of South Carolina, and a man of great faith and religion, and helped so many people, starting with his sister who he adopted. And what a great life. And it's so tragic. From a medical point of view, the way this is panning out, the most likely thing is that he had a heart attack, because 350,000 cases a year of cardiac arrest occur in this country outside the hospital, and it's very hard to bring anyone back from that. Less than 10% you can do that. And there are reports now that he had some chest pain. And, you showed those photos of him with Zelensky a couple of days ago. He looked like he was in very good health. And there's also videos of him talking to him. He wasn't short of breath. He didn't look like he was in any distress. Now, you go on a long plane flight, you can develop blood clots, which could be another cause of this. You could have a pulmonary embolus. But most of the time, this ends up being an arrhythmia or a sudden heart attack where you don't get enough blood flow to the heart. That's most of the time. The family is in the driver's seat with this. Less than 5% of families, according to Michael Bodner, who I spoke to this morning, a great forensic pathologist that we all know well, less than 5% of the time you're going to have an autopsy here. They may disclose what they think the cause of death is here, but they said a brief and sudden illness. My suspicion is that would be something related to chest pains or heart. And I don't think that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and it sounds like from staff that that they did not detect any kind of anything was wrong last night when they last saw him.
And I think that's true, too. That, it's not like this was a smoldering infection or something like that. I looked really carefully at that video. There was no sign of it when he was in Ukraine. And so I think it's most likely that it's something to do with the heart.
And of course, I think it's probably going to be that for sure. If they're already talking about, oh, he was having a heart attack, et cetera, I mean, we shouldn't be that super surprised about that. But let me pull this up because we need to take a look at this too. Benjamin Netanyahu also said some things. He was also on Meet the Press, which I think is an interesting thing. Benjamin Netanyahu says he's struggling to accept that Lindsey Graham, is quote unquote no more. I think America has lost a great patriot. Israel has lost a great champion of the American-Israeli alliance. I lost a beloved friend whom I've known for many decades. Let's take a look at this.
And I'm in a state of shock because, as President Trump said, Lindsey was so vibrant. He was so full of life. He was so full of energy and dedication that it's hard to accept the fact that he is no more. I think America has lost a great patriot. Israel has lost one of the great champions of the American-Israeli alliance. And frankly, I've lost a beloved friend who I've had for many decades. There's just no one like him. And I'm in a state of shock.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be just as same thing. A lot of people that are just very much on, that are going to be shocked. There are a lot of people that are going to be shocked for sure. So, yeah, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. All right. So he was in fantasy land, OK, during the government shutdown. OK, rocking, some were saying that he was wearing, rocking like a tiara. And then he also has a bubble wand in his hand. Now, of course, I don't understand why he has those things in his hands. Here's the thing. In my mind, it looks sus. It looks very weird. The other side of me is like, well, maybe he got that as a gift for maybe for his niece or something of that sort. But wouldn't you just get a bag and put it in the mother-loving bag? You know what I'm saying? It just seems a little bit weird that you'd be walking around with that, and a lot of people are a lot of questions are sparking off solely because of what he was walking around holding. And he was by himself at this place with, the happiest place on earth during government shutdown. Now, don't get me wrong, right? If I had an opportunity to go check out Disney World, or Disneyland or whichever one he was at, I'd probably go with some friends and just have a good time. But it just seems weird that you'd be by yourself at Disneyland or Disney World, okay, like this. It just seems a little bit strange to me. I don't know about you guys, but I find that a little bit weird. And, not every day do I agree with the likes of Alex Jones, but that is strange. And yeah, Trisha, you see what I'm saying? Like, hell yeah, you would have a bag. Why you holding on to it? You trying to save trees? You don't give a damn about no trees. You don't give a damn about the environment. So why the F would you be rocking? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you put it in a mother-loving bag? You see what I'm saying? So again, if it was a gift, why you wouldn't be holding on to it like that? You'd put it in a bag and call it a mother-loving day. I think he had a few drinks in him, if he was a hard drinker, if that rumor is true. And he just thought it was funny or something like that. I don't know. But it's weird that he'd be holding on to that stuff all by his damn self in a place where kids are supposed to be having the greatest time ever. He just might have been a very odd duck. I think he was a very odd duck. I hate to say it like that, but I think it was that. I think he was just a very odd duck. Just to be completely real with you. Hold on. I'm looking at a couple other things here. Right quick. Okay, Trump said something on CNN. Let's take a listen. This is about Lindsey Graham as well. Let's take a look.
What are your thoughts about Lindsey Graham this morning?
Well, it's devastating. I thought he was fine. He called me last night. He just got back from Ukraine, and he had a great trip. He was telling me about the trip. He was pushing very, very hard. You probably know he wanted to do the Save America Act. That he was talking about that. He was full of vim and vigor. He was tired. He said, "I'm tired because it's a long trip." But other than that, he was fine. And he called me, I guess, just moments before, because he called me like at 6:30 or something, and the medical people got there a little bit later, right after that. What a terrible loss it is. He's a great politician. He was a natural. There are very few of them. He was a natural politician. Got along with everybody. When he didn't, he was very tough. He was a tough cookie too, but he got along with everybody.
You know what I find really, really interesting and fascinating is how we hear Trump speak about people that he likes versus how he talks about people that he doesn't give two damns about, that he doesn't like. He'll go real fast to his social medias and go in on that particular person with as much hate and venom as he can, right? But then when it comes to people that are, like his right-hand men, which obviously I know it's natural, this is normal, but at the same time, I just find it very interesting that, he liked him. It was a dead-ass giveaway that he really, really liked and cared for Lindsey Graham. And it may only be because they both were on the same page about what they were planning on doing, what they're still continuing to do. He's still looking at Greenland. He's still looking at Cuba. He's still we're still over in Iran. Nothing's changed. It's a slow walk to what they're trying to accomplish. But Lindsey Graham wants MAGA everywhere. He wants full world domination. Trump wants that too. Trump definitely wants that mother-loving stuff too. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. So yeah, y'all. I mean, here it is. A lot of people are very shocked. There's his social media posted this as well. All right. His X account posted this. The office of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham released the following statement. On the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers at this time and asks for privacy during this incredibly difficult period. So that we have that too. But again, like I said, guys, I mean, this is a very shocking turn of events. This is very shocking. This is very surprising. We didn't expect this to happen, but I get it with how people are looking at this in a specific angle. They came out with this statement first, and they said a brief and sudden illness. So, of course, everybody and their mom was like, what? What does that mean? They could have said he passed away from a cardiac arrest, and maybe there wouldn't be as many speculations and as many tinfoil hats and red flags flying up everywhere. But nonetheless, they came out with brief and sudden illness, which obviously shocked the hell out of a lot of people. People were definitely feeling some type of way about this, and I don't blame them. You got basically a fatwa on Trump's head. Okay, you got a hit out on Trump's head right now as we speak. He even said, if anything is to happen to me, blow that entire country to kingdom come, right? Completely obliterate, annihilate, blow them to smithereens, right? So, of course, everybody's like, oh, damn. He even made a joke like, oh, I doubt you guys will miss me kind of thing, right? So he made, he said some things in jest, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Lindsey Graham passes after traveling overseas. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, yo, something happened. Something's up. Something is going on here. And something's going on and it's not smelling right. But here's the thing. People pass away in terrible, shocking, and sudden ways all the time. All the time. Some people are lucky enough to say a proper goodbye to the people that they love, or they're able to survive long enough for people to be there at their deathbed to say goodbye to them properly, and then they get to be sent on to the great beyond. And some are just not as lucky, and they're found in horrific and sudden, shocking ways. And that could very well be what happened here. But like I said, anything's possible. But we always hear the story of, and I'm not trying to trigger anybody, not at all. But you tell me, for those of y'all who have loved ones that you've lost, that you lost in a sudden way, wasn't it always this situation, the same situation where you were like, hey, I just had a conversation with him just today, and now at the end of the day, he's gone. Or I had a great conversation with Ma. I was the last one to see her. I left, and now she's gone. And she was doing just fine. She seemed healthy. She seemed happy. Everything was Gucci. And now she's gone. What the hell? Those things do happen. Those things definitely do happen. So, of course, FBI is getting down to the bottom of it. They're going to obviously do their due diligence. Hopefully, FBI doesn't drop the ball, and they really do a thorough investigation into the situation. And of course, cause of death, toxicology, all that, I'm sure, will be coming out. Here's the other thing, too. Yes, you're not wrong with that, Angelina Knox, okay? His name was on that list, allegedly, alongside Laura Loomer and Trump, which I don't understand the Laura Loomer part, but it is what it is. She is not that important, but it is what it is. But the fact that his name was on that list, I get it. That why people would sit there and go, well, wait, what the F? But this also could be a situation where he just lost his life. But we'll see. We'll see what FBI and what the toxicology and what autopsy reports say here in the near future. But what say you guys? What do you think? Is this something, like I asked you guys, do you think that this was just a natural heart attack? Or do you think that this was something else, right? I'm going to end the poll right there. So out of 735 votes, it's fine. Out of 735 votes, 57% of y'all do not think that his death was just a heart attack. I asked, do you think Lindsey Graham's death was just a heart attack? 57% of y'all say no, which of course is, yeah, crazy. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. Okay. But here it is. Oh, hold on. Where did that go? That disappeared fast, baby. Where did that go? Oh, I guess you retracted it. Okay. But that's interesting. Family, you said, Messi just said something about family history matters too. That maybe, there's family history of heart problems, maybe. I don't know. I have not been able to, I haven't gotten a chance to deep dive into it. Hold on. Family history matters. Thank you so much for the comment though. Mom died at 50 of Hodgkin's disease. Can't even say that word. Hodgkinson farmer and dad at 68 of a heart attack. Interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a history, a health, family history thing. We'll see. Okay. Hodgkinson's lymphoma. Thank you so much for the correction. So again, interesting, right? Interesting stuff. But like I said, more will come out soon when they do all the things that they need to do, right? We will see what happens. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Thank you. Please do me a favor if you haven't done it yet. Hit that like button down below, dagnabbit. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you. Hit that join button, hit that follow button on those other platforms real quick. All right, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them, so make sure you're following on those platforms. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe over there, please and thank you. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Hit that notification bell on both platforms, on both channels on YouTube, so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. And a lot of breaking news. And there's a lot of breaking news going on, baby. So make sure you're doing that. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon, which is in the ticker going across the bottom of the screen right now as we speak. And of course, do not forget to check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be safe out there. Enjoy your Sunday. I may be back on a little bit later on this late afternoon, early evening, depending on how everything goes. So anyway, it's time to get going. Be safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.